Good morning, everybody. It's Hammer. Today is Monday, October 13th, 2025. I, of course, am here with Hammer Live, even though it is legally, federally, a holiday. I think they still call it Columbus Day. Some places call it Indigenous Peoples Day. Me, I just call it Monday. It's a Monday. I'm working. I know many of you are working too. So, y'all know me. I am the founder of Originator Success, Grab and Go Social, and Rate Sensei. You can go check those out. Remember, you can join me live each and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. If you're here this morning, say good morning. Holly Johnson, good morning. Happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. I did. My son got married. Everything went really well. The weather was beautiful, and things are good. So anyway, if you're here this morning, say good morning. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and give me hashtag replay in the comments. Let me know that you were here. If you'd like a reminder that I'm going live, so on a day like today, and you could be like, oh yeah, it's actually a work day. Hammer's still there. So you want a little text message like that? Sign up at hmmr.io/reminder or use this cool QR code. Mr. Bashir's, the wedding was awesome. Thank you, sir. Everything went off without a hitch. I did get to officiate the wedding. It went very well. I was excited about that. People had fun. The food was good. The weather was beautiful. And it was awesome. So it's fun to have events like that and for everything to go well. And again, thank you for asking. I appreciate you for thinking of me and thinking about me. Good morning, Vicky McSweeney, Mike Brown, Megan Bissell. Good morning, y'all. I don't have any fancy captions today. We're just going to kind of go over some things here. So let's talk about where we ended the day on Friday. The plus 26 is not today. Again, this is absolutely not today. Hold on a minute. Let me present. There it is. Bond markets are closed today. It is Columbus Day or Indigenous Peoples Day, or like I said, I just call it Monday. But take a look at where this 10-year treasury yield was, 4.03. Look at the size of this candlestick, the drop here. On Friday. Again, the market is closed, and some of this was attributed to the drama that we're seeing going on with China and trade war stuff. So there's a bunch of things here, that are going on. A lot of the conversation right here. Forgive me, I'm going to sneeze. Hold on a minute. Oh, thank you. So yeah, I mean, if you take a look here, this is driving things in the backside that we don't really see, kind of putting some things here. Basically China has made it difficult to get your hands on rare earth minerals. Trump, saying he's going to put in more tariffs, and they're still doing this TikTok deal, which very quietly is doing some crazy things, but everything's still happening. There's a meeting here. So we'll see kind of what effect all this has as we get into things on Tuesday. So, but yeah, there's just, this is all posturing and all that. It's not affecting stocks. I'm sorry, it's not affecting bonds because the bond market is closed today. This is from Friday. This is not today. However, stock market is open. But if you take a look at where stocks are at this morning, let's take a look at that. We normally don't do that, but let's go ahead and let's hit markets. You can see that S&P 500 is down a little bit. NASDAQ up a little bit. It's not a big thing. Buy the dip, call gets ladder as China sell-off seems limited. Chinese markets displayed surprising resilience in the face of escalating trade tensions, underscoring how investors have grown accustomed to the tit for tat. People are just become numb to it all. It's almost like what you see in the regular world stuff, where people are just becoming numb to all of this. So, but this week, let's take a look at the economic calendar and see what we would have this week. Remember, this would be the CPI data on the 15th. Right now, it's very unlikely that we would get that data. Also, we won't get the producer price index. That also comes from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Bureau of Labor Statistics, BLS, being affected by the government shutdown. So we're not getting any of that data that we would normally see. So, but if we take a look and at some of the other stuff, let me make this smaller so I can pull up this little, here we go. And then economic calendar, and then let's make it larger again. So, So looks like Matt Graham is a little more progressive than I am. Markets closed for Indigenous Peoples Day. I don't know on what holiday. What holiday is October 13? What does Google say today is? It's a federal holiday. It's also recognized by many places, but they call it Columbus Day. But it's recognized by many places as Indigenous Peoples Day. At the end of the day, I don't want to offend anybody, but it's a. Why do we have Columbus Day anyway? Like, I don't know. I think it's a silly day. But it is a holiday. So anyway, that's what we got going on today. If we look at this week, what else would we actually have on the calendar here? You're going to have lots of Fed speakers, which we've grown accustomed to. Not likely to move markets this week. However, is there any data that we will actually get? You had on the 15th, you would have had the CPI data, which it looks like he doesn't even have it on here. So I wonder why he doesn't even have on hold for shutdown. The CPI would be here on the 15th. So I'm not sure why he doesn't have it on the calendar. Producer price index would have been here. I guess retail sales data, that'll still come out on Thursday. So we'll get that. Some housing data, which won't really matter. So again, it's going to be another quiet week when we get into that stuff. Looking at what's going on with the scenario. By the way, hey, listen, I am not a fan of all the activities that Trump does, but whatever role he played in getting these hostages freed, fantastic. Hats off. That's awesome. Can you believe it's been 2 years that these poor people have been hostages? It's mind numbing to me that in a civilized day and age that we're supposed to be civilized, we still have this kind of behavior, these things happening. Very, very, very crazy. The couple of articles that kind of we should be paying attention to this week. So right here, they're talking about the government shutdown finally starting to bite. I have seen, so I had a family coming in for the I see that, Ron. I'll answer that in a minute. I had some family coming in, and Newark Airport was a mess as always, but a lot of the other flights and things were not grossly affected. But they are saying that there is some pressure here. Now, Trump, supposedly active service members are going to be paid. They found money. Remember, it has to do, the reason that people don't get paid is it has to do with the amount of debt we can incur and transactions that can happen. But if they take money that we already have and use it for something, that's how they would be able to do that. And they found some money that was earmarked for, I think, research and development. And they're going to use that money to pay people. And right now, again, it's all positioning. We're all pawns. Everybody is pawns in the political chess match. And each side is trying to cause pain that the public will blame the other side for. So the things that are playing a role in here will be as people start to not get paid. That's going to be a big thing. So that's why they're saying that it's on here. But yeah, for now, 1.3 million active duty servicemen and women will be paid, and they're using money that was hundreds of billions of dollars. And that's what they want, what the Democrats want. So I was just looking to see where they were saying, but there are also, we're starting to see the layoffs, which is, where's the layoff article? Sorry, everything moves when I make it small here. So I was looking for the layoff article because I'm a little disappointed and frustrated to see that people are going to possibly permanently lose jobs during this time. It shouldn't be a political activity. It should be a true require, whether they're needed or not. So here's the one about that one. Federal workers increasingly turning to side hustles. More than 3% of employed Americans worked for online platforms in 2022. Furloughed employees are still subject to restrictions on outside employment, so they're not supposed to have another job, which is, again, this is just pawns in the game, which is very frustrating. But for us, it's very unlikely we see this get broken this week, this logjam, which means that we won't get on Wednesday. We were supposed to get the CPI data, inflation data. We're not likely to see that happen. Thursday, we're not likely to get the producer price data either. So I think that Ron kind of had it nailed. He said, this will be the first week of BLS reports we can count on. Today's reports will be just as accurate as the BLS always is. So there you go. Randy, we have lots of proof that Europeans had been to North America long before Columbus. Exactly. But nobody ever goes back and fixes that stuff, right? And besides, federal employees, the ones that are already furloughed, certainly aren't enjoying today's day off. They're, so that's right, Randy. Pay the soldiers, baby. Did I give the newlyweds a gift cat? No, they actually already have 2 cats that they got from my wife's cat sanctuary, a brother and sister, Walty and Thumpy. They are their names. So, but anyway, yeah, and that's all we've got really going on. It's a lot of that drama. This is going to be this stuff. We'll see what happens with the tariff talk. This whole thing with China is definitely going to have an effect on markets. There could be some moves tomorrow. So if you're concerned, we had a really good day on Friday. There weren't really lender reprices though on Friday. Let me move this so I can close that. There we go. There really were not a lot of lender reprices better on Friday. But when we look at Friday where things were, it kind of improved. So pricing came out right about here. We improved on the afternoon, and then it lost a bit of ground, but it ended the day here. So it was up a little bit on the day. As far as what kind of an effect does it really have on rate sheets? And, we don't have a lot of room. I am nervous to see that this yield could go up on Tuesday, tomorrow, when the bond market opens again. So, but there's no guarantee to that. Arguably, you could see a flight to safety, but I don't think so. It's tough to break 4% to get into 3 point anything. It's going to be very difficult to see that happen. So we really don't want to get too wrapped up in that. Looking at rate sheets and where things were at, Friday's rate sheet, that's more by the end of the day, but we had some pretty good rate sheets. So loans at a time could continue to float. We don't have anything to worry about if you're only looking to protect anything closing in the next couple of weeks. But the longer this shutdown goes, the more we could possibly see an effect. But right now it looks like, like right here, economists mark up U.S. growth forecasts, see tepid job gains. So even though their markets aren't really pricing in that this is going to hurt the economy. Economists marked up their estimates for U.S. economic growth this year and next, although job growth is expected to remain weak. Inflation adjusted gross GDP seen rising 1.8% this year, up from the 1.3% forecasters expected in June. So that's not something, if markets don't think we're going to see a recession, if they don't think we're going to see weakening, there's no reason to see rates really drop in that environment. If we see expectation delivered, where we see this stuff going up higher, then that's going to keep mortgage rates where they're at and unlikely to improve. So, however, if markets think that the economy is going to improve and it goes worse, that would help mortgage rates as we go into 2026. But as we come into the end of the year, it's not likely that we see rates drop significantly. We've talked about that before. I don't think we're seeing anything consistent with a 5 handle on it. And if you look at the spreads between conventional and Govy, it's not nearly as much as it's been in the past. It's been up to a 0.5 point in the past. Now it's closer to a 1/4 point. So keep that in mind as well. What else do you guys have to say, my friends? Anything? Good morning, Nathan Einkorn. Anything you guys have? How was your weekend? Let me know in the comments. How was your weekend? What did you do? And then, as far as today goes in this week, again, it should be a pretty calm week. However, we could see some movement tomorrow as bonds react and have a chance to wake up after whatever happens with stocks today, what's going on with China. Keep an eye on the conversation there. But that's it, and then we'll see. It's going to be a pretty quiet week. I think the shutdown will continue all week. Anyone want to take bets on that? Anyone think the shutdown will break this week? I don't think it's going to break this week. I think it's got to really, we got to see a lot more headlines. We got to see a lot more talk about it. We got to see people in pain about it. Unfortunately, the average John and Janice public have to get screwed in order to see this kind of get through and run its process. So we will see. We will see. All right, y'all. Well, that's it. I'm going to keep it short today. 9 puppies. Congratulations, Randy. Everybody, congratulate Randy Teakle. 9 puppies born, field bred performance golden retriever pups. That is fantastic. Now, will you raise them and train them before you find them homes, Randy, or will people kind of put in dibs and will you train them? Were you going to train them at all? Let me know. I'm curious to know kind of what that process is, and how where you go from here with the dogs and if everybody gets them trained and how that works. So, but congratulations. That's awesome and excited for you. So, Mike Brown Dragon this morning did the Chiefs Lions game last night. Yeah. And the fight afterwards, it was a better fight afterwards than there was during the Tyson Jake Paul fight. But yeah, I can't believe the Lions lost that game. I thought they'd have a better shot at that. So, yeah, Randy, Tom wants to know how much for the pups. 1 or 2 will be retained and trained. Cool. Yeah, House and Senate are in DC, not in DC, so they cannot vote. Is that for the whole week, Ron? Can't they always do like an emergency session and call them all back in anyway? Or is that just for today that you're saying they're not in DC? Senate in DC. I'm Googling it just to see what I come up with. The Senate will not hold any more votes after this week after failing to break stalemate. Blah, blah, blah. DC vote shut down. I'm looking to see how long they're adjourned for. Tom, in case you didn't see, I don't know if you guys know, he's on YouTube. So 3,500 for the dogs, most sold to performance homes. What's a performance home? I don't know what a performance home is. Federal government shutdown expected to continue at least in next week. Senate adjourns October 9th. Plan to return October 14th. Yeah, so they'll be there tomorrow. Here, this is what I'm reading, by the way. Let me pull this up on the screen real quick. So I am looking at, I figured today's a federal holiday, so they wouldn't be there today, but they'll be back in tomorrow morning. House currently has no plans to return to session next week because the House already approved it. So it's the Senate that needs to adopt the House passed version. So we'll see. Yeah, no, nothing's going to happen. It'll be House has 72 hours to return if needed. Ron, you are a plethora of awesome information. You would be like, you must be awesome at Trivial Pursuit. So, okay, performance home, hunting homes or hunt test homes or agility competition. Got it. Cool. So, all right, my friends. Well, thank you again for joining me. Hope you all have a good week. Get out there and prospect your butts off. We need to drum up some business before things get quiet at the end of the year. Try to get those last surge of loans in, some refis out there for sure. So, all right, my friends, I'll catch y'all tomorrow. Have a great day. And as always, thanks again for joining. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.